And I thought, boy, did you hit a home run or what? And I said, Gail, is that you or the wine talking? She said, it's me. And I'm talking to the wine. I thought you girls would like that. I grew up in a little town in the panhandle of Texas where the city limit signs are back to back. One road in and one road out, it's the same one. And right downtown it makes a curve. And the entire downtown section of our city sit either inside or outside that curve. On the inside of the curve was a one-pump Phillips service station. Brian Robertson built it out of wood left over from the Ark. On the outside of the curve was our Baptist church. The only one of its kind anywhere in the world at that time. It had a flashing neon sign. And it flashed day and night, if you're tired of sinning, brother, come on in. We used to stand there in front of that sign. That was our Saturday afternoon entertainment. To watch it flash, if you're tired of sinning, brother, come on in. And try to figure out how it knew to do what, when. And one afternoon, we noticed that some lady had written with lipstick on the window right underneath that sign, if you ain't, call 736-97. When you grow up in a small town, you know everybody's business. But the tough thing about it is they know yours. And we didn't have but one phone in Sanford. It is down at Brian Robertson Station. He was the only one brave enough to use it. We scared to death of it. Couldn't see anybody on the other end of it. So if you needed to talk to somebody, you just went down to their house. Even if they lived all the way across town, the other end, you'd walk all 3 blocks to visit with them. A 14-year-old boy in my class sold the Baptist preacher a lawnmower, and it wouldn't start. So the preacher went down there to visit with him, and he knocked on the door, and the kid came to the door, and he said, son, I hate to tell you this, but that lawnmower won't start. The kid said, preacher, I am so sorry. I forgot to tell you, you got to cuss that lawnmower to get it started. The preacher said, you know, it's been so long since I've said a cuss word, I'm not sure I remember how. The kid said, keep pulling on that damn rope, it'll come back to you. We had a couple of high school buddies of mine, Bobby Carl and Billy Fred. Not long ago they were watching the Dallas Cowboy football game, and there was a banner came across the screen and said alert. And then a picture showing this guy up on this big tall bridge, evidently fixing to jump off. Bobby Carl said, Billy Fred, I'll bet you 100 he jumps. Billy Fred said, I'll take that. So they'd no sooner gotten their $100 bills laid down there together than that old boy jumped and disappeared below the water. Billy Fred said, okay, Bobby Carl, there's your money. Bobby Carl said, I can't take your money. I seen that on the 5 o'clock news. I know he's going to jump. Billy Fred said, go ahead and take it. I seen it on the 5 o'clock news too. I just didn't think he'd be stupid enough to do it the second time. We live, without a shadow of a doubt, in the greatest nation on the face of this earth. We are God's chosen people to live in the United States of America.
Amen.
And there are a lot of things that we have to be proud of. Things that nobody else experiences anywhere else on this planet. And the one thing that's important to me is our ability to individually own land, utilize it while we're here, and then pass it on to future generations. And I believe with all my heart that private ownership of land is the single most important element in the progress and security of a free and independent society. I've kicked up the hidden mesquite roots and rocks from the place where I spread out my bed. And I'm laying here looking at a sky full of stars with my hands folded up beneath my head. And tonight there's a terrible pain in my heart, like a knife. It cuts jagged and deep. This evening the windmiller brought me the word that my granddaddy died in his sleep. So I saddled my gray horse, rode out to a hill where when I was a youngster of 9, my grandfather said to me, "Son, this is ours. It's yours, your daddy's, and mine." He said, "My granddaddy settled here after the war and knew tanks where his house used to be. Wanted to cowboy and live in the West, come to Texas from East Tennessee, and a longhorn were wild as a deer in them breaks. With a long rope he caught him a few, and with the money he made from trailing them north, he brewed up this homestead for you." When the railroad got closer, they built the first fence where the river runs through the east side. Then when I was a button, they built these corrals. And that winter, my granddaddy died. He said my father took over and bought up more range. With purebreds, he improved our stock. And windmills looked like they grew out of the ground. Then that land got as hard as a rock. And during that dust bowl, we barely hung on. The wind tried to blow us away, but it seemed that the Lord took a liking to us. He kept turning up ways we could stay. As my father grew older, he gave me more rain. We'd paid for most all of this land, and by the time he went on, I was running more cows, and your daddy was my right-hand man. His eyes got real cloudy. He took off in a trot, and I watched as he rode out of sight. And though I was a child, I knew I was special. And I'm feeling that same way tonight, because not many years later, my daddy was killed on a ship in the South China Sea. And for 20-odd years now, we've made this ranch work. 2 cowboys, my granddad, and me. And now that he's gone, things are certain to change, and I reckon that's how it should be, but 5 generations have called this ranch home, and I promise it won't end with me, because I've got a little one home in a crib. When he's old enough that he'll understand, from the top of that hill, I'll show him his ranch. Because like me, he was born to this land. We're all born to this land. Now the cow camp is busy. The longhorns are uneasy. Dark skies rolling and mean, and he rolls him a tight one and ties down his slicker. Slaps at some dust on his sleeve. Then he lays out a flat loop and throws at the piebald. Laughed as the old pony ducked. Then the 3rd time he caught him. Yes, the old pony let him. Game's over, started to coax. Now the night watch is his, and with his face to the wind, he nods as he rides past the boss. And he's humming a song that his granddaddy taught him. It's on the back of that old piebald horse. And he rides off to Cowtown when the fall work is over. Goes straight to the Two Minis bar, where he dances till morning with the prettiest ladies. Tells them stories about horses and wars. Now the cow camps are empty. Land's full of fences. Cowboys feed hay in a truck. Dead chuck wagon stands in a museum in Kansas, rotten and gathering dust. He rocks in an old chair his granddaddy made when the plains were still open and free, and his leggings still hang on a nail with the bed. Gave his spurs to his grandson last spring. So he rolls in the tight one as he stares at the wall, at a picture of him and the boss. And for a while he jumps cattle out of sagebrush and cedar on the back of that old piebald. While he dreams he's in Cowtown and dancing till morning with the girls at the Two Minis bar. Then he throws down a whiskey with a couple of cowboys that tell lies about horses and war. In his lifetime, he's seen the first gas-powered jitney, a picture they sent back from Mars. And all that he prays for is to ride off to glory on the back of that old piebald horse. While he dreams he's in Cowtown and dancing till morning with the girl whiskey with a couple of cowboys. They tell lies about horses.